Hey there, welcome to day 31 of our February 2021. It's actually our sixth 30 plus day get up and go challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. And today I'm going to try to keep it a little short, but we are going to talk about what I do as a scorecard, or how you can create your own scorecard to track your own progress, to see how you're doing. Now on about day 3, we did something. We went and we rated, and I'm not going to look because I don't want to influence my answers this time, but we did an exercise where we looked at each of these areas and aspects of our life, my great graphic here: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. And we rated them on a scale of 1 to 10. Now there's a lot of things in our life that we want to keep track of, and we want to keep score. I learned about scorecards and results tracking and key performance indicators, KPIs, in corporate America, and I incorporated them, of course, into my own businesses. But oftentimes in our overall aspects of our life, we don't have a scorecard. We don't have a way of keeping score in all of these areas in our life. We might have a financial scorecard where we keep track of how much money's in our bank account, or how much credit card debt we have, or whatever we want to use to measure for key performance indicators. But for a lot of these areas of our life, I've never had a real scorecard for it, except this rating system on a scale of 1 to 10. How am I feeling today with respect to this particular area or aspect of my life? Now, we did it at the beginning of the challenge, and of course we're going to do it again today. That's going to be our action item, is to go ahead and rate 1 through 10 how we feel about each of these areas and aspects of our life now. And then we're going to go back and we're going to look at how we rated it at the beginning of the month, and we're going to see if there's any changes. Do we actually, so don't go back and look at what you rated it last time. Wait until after you do it, because you want to check in with yourself, and I'll do it. I'll just do it right here with us in a minute. We want to write those down, and then we want to go back and we want to do a periodic review and check. Now, prior to last year, COVID-19, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of lockdowns and things as a result of this in the next week or so. And it wasn't until I started doing the Get Up and Go Challenge that I actually did this more than once a year. I used to do this every year, kind of at the end of the year. It was part of my end of the year process. I'm strange. I have an end of the year process. I have an end of each accounting period or tracking period that I do for business, and I do it for my overall health. And I consider these 7 areas and aspects of my life a good snapshot of my overall health. So at the beginning of the year, a new year, I would go through this and I'd say, okay, how do I feel about my physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution? And I don't know where my 1 is for the beginning of this year. I should have grabbed that, because I could have shown you that I do that at the beginning of each year. And then at the end of each year, I do it again, and then I compare notes and I look at, okay, what's changed? Where did I miss the ball? What did I do well? I always want to be grateful for what's working, but what worked out great? What are some things that I need to learn? What are some lessons or epiphanies or ahas I had that I need to learn in any of these areas or aspects of my life? And then what I do, let me see if I actually have it in this book or not. I go ahead and I have an exercise in here that I did at the end of the year that I was teaching people about setting a long-term. I have at least 1 to 3 long-term. This is my 10-year goal for each of these areas and aspects of my life. And then I break that down to, from the 10-year, okay, if I want to be there in 10 years, what do I need to get done this year? And I come up with my annual goal. And then I break that down into 90-day little mini years, which I call 90-day pushes. And then I break those down into monthly. What do I need to accomplish monthly to meet my 90-day goal? What do I need to accomplish weekly? What do I need to do daily to meet those goals and objectives? Very structured, very organized, but it works for me. Do I follow my plans all the time? No, it's just a framework for my plans and for my making sure I'm moving forward. But I do I'm always every year working on at least one thing in each of these areas and aspects of my life. So I try to keep a little bit of balance, but a little bit of attention to them. Some years, a lot more attention goes to family and relationships than to, building my business or finances. Other years, it was all building my business and finances and less attention to my family. Once the kids grew up and were off at college and things, I had a lot more time freed up to put more energy into my businesses or into my mental or my emotional development and personal development and learning how to be a better human. So it varies all the time from year to year, but that's what I do. And then I break those things down by category into I was just coaching someone on how I do this. 1 year, 12, 11, and all the months. And I actually break them down to, okay, what does that mean financially or weight-wise that I need to do if I want to achieve a certain level of physical fitness or a certain level of financial fitness. So we need to have a periodic review for that. Well, now since I've been doing the Get Up and Go Challenge, I'm doing this exercise like every other month. So I don't see as much change, either positive or negative, from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. But sometimes I do. Sometimes, like, I actually feel a lot better physically now than I did at the beginning of the month, even though I still have a long, long way to go. But I know I'm consciously working on it more than I was in January. January, I let some things slide, and it's, part of why I decided I would continue doing the Get Up and Go Challenge this year is I don't want to let myself off the hook. I don't want things to slide. I don't want to be ever moving backwards and regressing or not doing things that are in my best interest on a continual basis. So today, our action item is to look at physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, contribution, and see how do we feel about those today. So how do I feel about that today? I'm going to say 5+ today for physical, because I got a long way to go. Mental, actually I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to say mentally 6+. Now, here's the thing. You'll notice I set a scale of 1 to 10, but here I am adding pluses, and sometimes I'll add minuses, right? So emotionally, I'm going to say I'm about a 7. Spiritually, 6+. I'm feeling okay. Finances, 6. Relationships, got a brand new baby in the house. I'm going to say 7. We're having a great time. And then contribution, I'm going to say 7 on contribution. Now, I don't remember what I had last time, so let's go back. Let's sneak back in my little workbook. This is why I say it's important to write things down and see what I did at the beginning of this month. What did I say at the beginning of the month? Beginning of the month, I think it was about the 3rd, about day 3. I'm looking for a grid. Priorities. Let's see if my priorities are the same. Physical, relationships, and contribution. I would say, I don't know. I have to think about that for priorities. I think they're probably still pretty close to the same. All right. Beginning of the month, I put 5 for, I'm going to get a different colored pen. Let's do it in a different colored pen. So then this was, it was day 6. So 2-6. So it hasn't even been a month. I had 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 5, 7. This is why I memorize them in the same order. So I can do this. So then, as part of my periodic review, and again, I'm doing this twice in 1 month usually when I'm doing a challenge. So every other month from, let's see, April, June, July, September, October, no, I didn't do September, October, December, almost every other month. I did this last year, so I was doing this twice a month during those challenges. And I wouldn't see a whole lot of change between beginning and the end of the month, right? Sometimes I would see a little bit, like, see, I went up a plus, I'm feeling a little bit better about it, so I know that I'm moving in the right direction. I want to keep working on that. 5 to 6+, that's pretty good mentally. 6 to 7, that's good. 6 to 6+, good. 6 to 6 stayed the same, that's okay. I didn't really do much of anything except this challenge with respect to finances that would create a change in my situation. 5 to 7 for relationships, that's pretty good. Because when I first started, we didn't have the baby in our life yet, and we weren't sure how that was going to go, and if, how everybody was going to respond and react, and how we were going to fit it all together as a living unit, and it's gone really, really well, so I'm obviously feeling a lot better about that. And then contribution stayed the same, again, because I'm doing what I've been doing for about a year now, and I haven't really made a massive change in the area of how I contribute to anything outside of myself. So that is our review. And then I want to ask myself, well, have I had any epiphanies or aha moments about this? Now, sometimes things will go down, and that means that the work I'm doing in that area, or what I'm working on and moving toward in that area, isn't taking me in the right direction. So I want to reevaluate and say, okay, what do I need to do? How can I look at my SOAP framework? Maybe the option that I chose to take action on was not the best one, or it didn't give me the result I thought it would. Well, then I'm going to go back to the options. I'm going to pick a different one, take a different action, and see what my results are. Is it moving me toward what I want or away from what I want? I found I use the SOAP framework all the time, like almost every day automatically now, because Every day, changes and challenges and obstacles and setbacks and stuff comes our way, and we have to figure out how to respond to it. If I don't have to think about my story, what am I telling myself? What do I really want? What are my options? What action am I going to take? Am I moving toward what I want or away from what I want? If I can install that in my subconscious and make it automatically, which is what I've done, everything flows better. Decisions and choices and things that used to tip me over and frustrate me no longer do, because I know that it's just life and I'm going to respond to it in the best way I can at the given moment, because I've got this framework to analyze and make sure that I'm not just reacting or flying off the handle or getting upset about something, usually that I have no control over, and just dealing with the situation in a proactive, positive way by focusing on the solution, not on the problem, by focusing on what I want, not on what I don't want. So all in all, that is what works for me. And what I want to encourage you to do today on this last day of the challenge, a couple things. Number one, do this. See where you're at. Take that snapshot. And then don't just give it up there and never do it again if it works for you. Pick the things that we've talked about over the last 31 days and pick and choose what works for you. Take some of the tools and tweak them and morph them and create them and use them in a way that adds value to your life, that helps you to move in the direction you want to go. I've done that with a lot of these tools. Like almost all of the tools I use today are a version of what I learned, but then some adjustments and some things I've done to make them my own. The urine analysis would be an example of that. I think I learned that framework for analyzing options and picking among alternatives, and it was just what's urgent or important. I'm like, okay, urgent and important are good, but if I don't have the resources in time, energy, or other resources required to do it, and it would take me 6 months to get those resources, that option, it might be urgent and important, but the option that I was going to use to address it might not be feasible right now, especially if I need to make a decision quickly. So I added different things, what did I add to that? To urine. Resources, energy, and effort required, and brain is and necessary. Is it even necessary? Because sometimes we think things are urgent and important, but they're not even really necessary, and we make a big deal out of them. So over the years, I added those and ended up with urine. Who knew? So take the tools, take anything anyone teaches you, including me, with a grain of salt. Keep what works for you. Just throw the rest away. It's kind of like if somebody gives you a present, a gift. If it works for you, you keep it and you make it a part of your life. If it doesn't work for you, you can always return it, re-gift it, and bless someone else's life with it. But you don't have to make yourself fit into using it if it doesn't work for you. I don't know if that's a good example, but it reminds me of certain things. Sometimes people will give you a hat. Like, here's a hat. My sister gave my son this hat, Mike's Hard Lemonade. And my son isn't going to drink or wear this hat. He doesn't care one bit about Mike's Hard Lemonade. I, on the other hand, every once in a while, not very often, mind you, like to have a Mike's Hard Lemonade. So I'm like, well, I'll take the hat. So if I'm going for a walk downtown and I want the sun out of my eyes, I now have a Mike's Hard Lemonade cap. And I don't mind wearing it because I actually like the product. All right, that's all I've got today. Do your rating, do your periodic review, see what you've learned over the course of the month that you can apply moving forward, and ask yourself, what can I use for a scorecard? This is my scorecard, my overall life personal scorecard. That and my lifeline. But my lifeline is more of a tool that I look at than a scorecard. It's just a snapshot of what is. And this is the same thing. It's a snapshot of how I rate myself in each of these areas at any given date or time. I always date them so that I know when it's from. So if I find an old notebook and it's got that in it, I'm like, all right, I know what this is from. I know what this is. Ooh, I was feeling bad about my physical condition back in 03 or whatever, 2010. 2010 was a tough year physically. I had a sudden cardiac arrest. That would probably be rated a 0 back then. At least if I'd done it. I think I did do this exercise pretty soon after that, because it helped me to identify, holy moly, the areas and aspect of my life I had been totally ignoring, which would be physical, mentally, emotional, spiritual, and relationships I was struggling with too. Not my kids or the people I love and care about or work, but my ex-husband, which is now my ex for a reason. So those 5 areas of my life were pretty much being virtually ignored for growing my businesses, I guess for financial and for contribution, those and you know, my kids, but that's what all my energy was going to. And the other areas of physically taking care of me, mentally and emotionally taking care of me, got to about zero attention every day. And so when you're not doing anything at all for an area or aspect of your life for extended periods of time, and we're talking at least a decade, guess what? That area of your life will get your attention. Hopefully not in as big a way as a sudden cardiac arrest or a health challenge or a diagnosis, but it'll get your attention, and it'll keep getting your attention until you actually pay attention and do something about it. So think of a scorecard that you can use to keep track of what's important to you in your life. I use this rating system. You can use whatever you want, but then make sure that you don't just do it once and then never look at it again. Once you choose this scorecard, use it to make your life better and to make things work out for you. That's all I've got for you right now. If I can help you in any way, I'd like to do a question and answer period, but only if people direct message me with questions that they want to hear the answers to. I will I'll schedule a live, and if people can make it, great. If they can't, I'll just do the questions and answers for everybody. We're due for one. I don't think I did one in December. I don't think December I did one. So we're definitely due for a question and answer. And then if I can help you for next steps, this is not a selling challenge. I don't do this challenge to bring people into my life and into my world. I have other things that I do for that. So it's just to help you and benefit you, especially during times of chaos and change, like we're still experiencing, at least here in the United States, for COVID-19 and for everything else. So I want to give people a tool that they can use to guarantee that they'll be better off after any change or obstacle or challenge. And if you can do it a few times, and you'll join me for the next Get Up and Go challenge, probably be the month of April, because I'm traveling the last day of April to mid-May, so I probably want to knock it out again in April. So we'll do it again in April and share. I am not sure. I'd love to hear your input and feedback on how you'd like to see it change, or what you'd like to see in or out, because that helps me to make it better every single time we do it. That's it. Have an amazing day. Thanks for joining me. And I will, of course, be with you next time. Or you can find me all over social media, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom. Sometimes Pajama Grandma, but moving towards Sharon Horne-Ellstrom since COVID hit last year. All right. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.